Hello everyone. Today we will talk about T.S. Eliot's essay Tradition and the Individual Talent. Let us know about T.S. Eliot. His full name is Thomas Turns Eliot and his lifespan was between 1888 and 1965. He was British poet, playwright, essayist, publisher, and he was also social and literary critic. Uh, Before beginning the essay, you should know the contribution of T.S. Eliot as a literary critic to the literary criticism. He has introduced his theory objective correlative. Then he also gave his theory of impersonality. Then he also talked about his concept of tradition. He has also invented his theory of dissociation of sensibility. I will tell you some of his important essays. His first important essay is Tradition and Individual Talent, which was published in 1919. His second important essay was Hamlet and His Problems. It was published in 1920. And his third important essay was Metaphysical Poets. It was published in 1921. Now let us talk about the present essay. The essay was first published in 1919 in the Egoist, and later it was published in his first critical book, that is The Sacred Woods. It is considered as an unofficial manifesto of T.S. Eliot's creed. The present essay is divided into three parts, and in the beginning of the essay, Eliot talks about his concept of tradition, then he talks about his theory of impersonality of poetry, and finally, he has made some concluding observations. Let us talk about the word tradition. See, at the beginning of the essay, T.S. Eliot talks about the word tradition, and he says that English people have unpleasant ear towards the word tradition. The reason behind is that when he talks about English people, he says that English people have uncritical turn of mind. While explaining how English people have uncritical turn of mind, he says that when English people praise a poet, that time they praise him for his work and the things which are there in his work, particularly the individual elements which are there in the poet's work. They praise for that thing. But T.S. Eliot says that when we look at that work closely, when we examine that work critically, you will come to know that the individual elements which English people praise, these individual elements and the work of art uh, is greatly influenced by the writers of the past. That is, that work is greatly influenced by the traditional elements in that work. But English people don't know that the work contains traditional elements. Here I quote T.S. Eliot. He says that whereas if we approach a poet without this prejudice, we shall often find that not only the best but the most individual part of his work may be those in which the dead poets, his ancestors, assert their immortality most vigorously. See, this is how, in that work of art, the writers of influence of the writers of the past is prevalent, and that is what English people don't know according to T.S. Eliot. Now he talks about the literary tradition and how it can be acquired. T.S. Eliot clearly says that tradition cannot be inherited. It has to be obtained by hard labor. He explains the concept hard labor. Hard labor means knowing the writers of the past. Hard labor means knowing the literary movements of the past. Then shifting bad writers from the good writers, shifting good writers from the better writers, shifting better writers from the best writers. Further, he says that tradition can be obtained with the help of the historical sense. He also talks about historical sense. He says that historical sense means the sense of the timeless and the temporal, as well as of the timeless and the temporal together. Historical sense means writer should know the past writers. At the same time, a writer should know which past which past writers are significant in the present scenario. T.S. Eliot further says that the sense of tradition implies a recognition of the continuity of literature, a critical judgment as to which of the writers of the past continue to be significant in the present. That is what I told you. And finally, a knowledge of these significant writers obtained through painstaking efforts. He says that you should not only you shouldn't only know the writers of the past. You should know their writings. You have to read their literature, and while reading the literature, you have to also know which writers are significant in the present conditions, in the present situations. And for that matter, T.S. Eliot says that you have to take painstaking efforts. That is what he means by the hard labor. Then T.S. Eliot talks about his dynamic conception of tradition. He says that no writer has his value and significance in isolation. It means that to know the value of a writer's work, we have to compare and contrast his work with the writers of the past. Here, T.S. Eliot makes another important point and says that tradition is not static, tradition is dynamic, and the relationship between the present writer and the past writer is reciprocal. It means that when a new writer composes work of art, that time he modifies the literary tradition, and at the same time his work is influenced by the writers of the past, and at the same time he modifies the tradition. It means that the relationship between the present writer and the past writer is reciprocal. Both get modified. This is what here T.S. Eliot wants to assert. Then he talks about the sense of tradition and its real meaning. He says that poet must judge critically what are the main trends and what are not. Here he says that when poets study the past writers, when poets study the past movements, past trends in literature, they should be free from prejudices. They should study it critically. They should not just study the poets whom they admire. He says that a poet must confine himself to the main trends to the exclusion of all that is incidental or topical. What he here means is that poet must know main trends, poet must know what are significant trends, poet must know what are universal trends. He should know how to ignore the incidental, he should know how to ignore temporal. He must also realize that the main literary trends are not determined by the great poets alone. He should know that smaller poets also are significant. They should not be ignored. Means this kind of understanding a poet must have. Then and then only we can say that he has got the sense of tradition. Further, he says that the great work of art never lose their significance. Here he wants to highlight that the immortality of the great work of art. Further, this is the second part of the essay, and here he puts forth his theory of impersonality of poetry. He says that the artist and the poet, both are similar words. Here he says that the artist must continue to acquire the sense of tradition throughout his career. Means a poet has to acquire the tradition, poet has to study the literary tradition throughout his career. He should not stop studying literary tradition. And he says that in his study he has to bring the important elements, he has to bring the universal elements, he has to learn many things from the literary tradition, and he has to bring these things in his work. He says that poet should not talk about his likes, his dislikes in his work. He should be objective. He should be impersonal. He says that in the beginning, a poet's self, his individuality may assert itself. It is natural. But as his powers mature, there must be greater and greater extinction of personality. He must acquire greater and greater objectivity. And he says that when poets achieve greater and greater objectivity, it is when they study the tradition, it is when they acquire the historical sense, it is when they confine to the literary tradition. That is, they have to surrender to the literary tradition. He says that his emotions and passions must be depersonalized. It is very important point here he has made. Means personal likes, personal dislikes, personality should not enter in the work of art. He must be as impersonal and objective as a scientist. See, this is how T.S. Eliot has expectations from the writers. Means when they compose literature, they should be very much objective like scientists. The personality of the artist is not important, he says. The important thing is the sense of tradition. This is what you have to remember, students. Here he says that the personality of the artist is not important. Personality of the writer is not important. Important thing is the sense of tradition. See, when we see this statement out of context, that time you will come to know that in romantic criticism, personality is important. The poet's personality is important, but here T.S. Eliot has rejected romantic criticism, and for the first time he says that the personality of the artist should not enter his work. That is why T.S. Eliot holds that honest criticism and sensitive appreciation is directed not upon the poet but upon the poetry. This is the objectivity. Means when writers talk about impersonal things in his work, that time the criticism concentrates on the poetry itself, not on the poet. Further, he talks about the poetic process. See, we have seen the poetic process in Wordsworth's essay. He says that poetry is spontaneous overflow of powerful feelings. But here, when T.S. Eliot talks about the poetic process, he says that the mind of the poet is not important. The mind of the poet should work like a catalyst, and the process of poetic creation is like the process of a chemical reaction. He says that the personality of the poet does not find expression in his poetry. It is his opinion. It acts like a catalytic agent in the process of poetic composition. Means personality of the poet does not get involved in the process of composing a poet. The mind of the poet is like just a catalyst. It is a catalytic agent. Then he goes on talking about the emotions and feelings. He says that poetry is either composed of emotions or feelings, but he has never explained what actually the meaning of emotion and the feeling. T.S. Eliot here distinguishes between emotions and feelings, but he does not state what this difference is. Further, he talks about the poetic process and he says that poetry is organization rather than inspiration. This is what we have seen in earlier criticism. We saw it in romantic criticism that it is poetry is an inspiration, and earlier too there were number of poets, number of critics claimed that poetry is inspiration. But here T.S. Eliot claims that poetry is organization. He says that the greatness of the poem does not depend upon the greatness or even the intensity of the emotion. He has not given importance to the emotion. He says that the intensity of the process of poetic composition. He has given importance to the word intensity. The intensity is important while composing the poem. Emotions are not important. The more intense the poetic process, the greater the poem. This is what he says. Further, he talks about the artistic emotion and the value of concentration. See, as I told you, Eliot rejects Wordsworth's theory of poetry, and he points out that in the process of poetic composition, there is neither emotion nor recollection nor tranquility. He says that in the poetic process, there is only concentration of a number of experiences, and new thing results from this concentration. And this process of concentration is neither conscious nor deliberate, it is a passive one. This is how T.S. Eliot has rejected the Wordsworth theory of poetry, and he says that poetry is not emotions recollected in tranquility, but poetry is concentration of a number of experiences. And here intensity of concentrating these experiences, intensity of mingling these experiences is very important. Further, he talks about that poetry is an escape from the personality and personal emotions. This is how he has concluded his essays. He says that poetry is not a turning loose of emotion, but an escape from emotion. It is not the expression of the personality of the poet, but it is an escape from personality. Thus, he does not deny personality or emotion to the poet. Only he must depersonalize his emotions. And this depersonalize of his emotion is possible only when the poets surrender to the tradition, only when poets acquire sense of tradition. It is possible only when poets have got the knowledge of the history, poets have got the knowledge of the past. When poets have the historical sense, when poets have the sense of tradition, definitely they will become traditional writers. Their work will become a greater work, and this is what T.S. Eliot expects from the writer. Thank you very much. I hope that you have enjoyed the present lesson. Thank you. Thank you.